So lovely to have you here, and thank you for being with us. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We're looking at, energy security, sustainability, how an organization like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we'll talk a little bit later about what that is too. But what I'd like to start with when we look around the world, and in an ideal world, we'd all love to have the same aspirations, the same opportunities, the same goals, the same focus. And when we look at, the global agreement for emissions reduction, sure, it is in one way the same, but all countries and all regions, we're all moving at different speeds, so to speak. Some are on the highway, some are on the roads of Goa that I took this morning. It took me a little bit longer than I thought. So we have to really make allowances for that. So talk to me a little bit about, I suppose, the importance of regional blocks, in different parts of the world when it comes to particularly working on energy policy, which will inform everything else.
Thank you, Edna, for the lovely introduction, first of all. And taking this opportunity, I would like to thank the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas of India for inviting Shanghai Cooperation Organization to this prestigious India Energy Week. And for us, it's a privilege and an honor to be part of this amazing conversation and event. And now coming to your question, of course, in an idealistic world, everything can happen. We can hit the target with 100% precision. But in reality, we know that how much complicated it is. But in this context, let me emphasize one point that for groupings from a particular region, they have their own significance and they have their own strengths, I can say. For instance, for regional groupings, it could be very much easy to act as a bridge between the overarching global policies and national level implementation. For instance, for the very simple reason that the memberships are drawn from a particular region, they may have a similar energy profile or similar energy needs and demands, which will give them similar voice.
Yes.
And it is very easy for them to find a common voice at the end of the day. So to me, global, rather than organizations or groupings which have transcontinental impact, regional groupings are much more effective, and they can amplify the voices of nations as well.
No, I think so. And I think we're actually beginning to value the importance of regional groupings, particularly when we look at a very volatile world maybe at the moment when it comes to global policy and who the superpowers are and how they're actually helping progress. But that's another story. Now talk to me a little bit about, again, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO as we like to call it. It covers about 40% of the world's population, this organization. And again, almost 25% of global GDP. I mean, that's a huge undertaking here. So how significant, I suppose, is the energy footprint today? And then do you think SCO is becoming a global energy player or more regional, or a bit of both?
At first, thank you for bringing that statistics. This is quite widely used these days. 40% of the world's population and a quarter of world's GDP. But my response to your question is from that particular numbers itself. 40% of world's population itself is around 3 billion. So we are a region where 3 billion people are residing. And our energy needs and demands are unified in that aspect also. Energy is the core of our cooperation. But to the benefit of our audience, let me clarify one thing. SCO has started as a political organization with political cooperation and security as its one of the core aspects of cooperation. And we have diversified into various aspects of developmental activities. And of late, energy is in the forefront of our cooperation.
And again, so it has acted as a tool of cooperation, because I also think it has become one of the most important elements that ties economics, health, agriculture, water. It actually brings everything together. So its importance now, rather than maybe 20 years ago, I think is huge, isn't it?
Of course. The history of energy cooperation, in fact, started in 2012 when we formed an energy club It was an informal kind of a grouping for unofficial, talks and events, so on and so forth. It was in 2021, everything got changed when we formed the first Council of Ministers for Energy Cooperation.
Right.
And since then, every year we are conducting energy-related events. And energy is one factor which is unifying the organization in an unprecedented way. And I would like to emphasize one point, Edna, that energy is one area of cooperation which is drawing the member states much more close to the core principles of SCO. In Russian, we call it as Shanghai Duch or Shanghai spirit, which is drawn from ideals such as mutual respect, mutual trust, non-discrimination, and equality.
Okay.
And above all, energy is the theme around which we always share our the larger commitment of member countries towards United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 7, that is assuring affordable and reliable energy sources to the so-called 40% of global population.
Yeah.
That's around 3 billion people.
And that's so important. Now, talk to me. You've put in place in 2024, I believe, a strategy for energy cooperation. And again, just maybe elaborate a little bit on that. And how has that actually helped all your members? And maybe how did it change them in terms of what they stand for?
I would like to build up a little bit from my previous response.
Yes.
That it was in 2021 we started at the initiative of Tajikistan, one of our member countries, that we started the annual Council of Ministers.
Okay.
And in 2024, in Astana Summit, we have adopted this document, the strategy of energy cooperation up to 2030. And in this brief history of energy cooperation within SCO, this document defined, I can say it has given a direction to the member countries for energy cooperation. And it has practically defined how the energy cooperation should be within the cooperation in the grouping. It has given or advocated, I can say, freedom of choice to the member countries.
Yes.
Members are free to choose their own pathways because, as we discussed earlier, member countries are at the various stages of their development.
Yes.
Some of them are, as you said, moving very fast. Some of them are catching up. Some of them are in the middle. So it has given absolute freedom of choice to the member countries.
And it has to do that because, some are going to be richer countries. They're going to have more investment. They're going to have more interest from foreign developers. So it's not one size fits all. Talk to me a little bit about the Tianjin summit and the importance of that. And again, in terms, I suppose, of strengthening that cooperation.
Yeah, good question. Tianjin summit was the culmination of China's presidency last year.
Yes.
And it happened in the city called Tianjin in September 2025. And as far as energy cooperation is concerned, I think that there are two important takeaways. First, the members for the first time adopted a document on sustainable development, which has advocated again for more practical approach for sustainable development goals. And it has institutionalized the sharing of knowledge, so on. The second aspect I should mention is the adoption of a roadmap for the strategy cooperation in energy sector. So we have seen that the strategy cooperation document is more or less of a broad policy document. Right. But this roadmap has practically broken down this broad policy document into more action-oriented, actionable activities up to 2030, and perhaps beyond that.
And I mean, that's what has to happen. If it's not the action that's not there, it's all great that you all sit around and talk about that. We have to see results here. And these countries want results. Talk to me a little bit about, I suppose, what differentiates you from, there's plenty of regional organizations out there. We have, G20, we've BRICS, everybody is moving, not necessarily in different directions. I think we're all moving ultimately in the same. But really, what's the big differentiator for the SCO?
I may be confessing that I may not have that much of deep information about the working of G20 and BRICS.
No, you don't have to go there. But
On the
what
energy
makes you
cooperation
guys
front.
special? You always know that one.
I do have some general information that the membership of these organizations are drawn from various continents. So definitely their policy decisions will have a transcontinental effect. But SCO is an emerging transregional organization.
Yes.
But there are uniqueness in SCO's energy cooperation. One unique aspect is this is a platform where a few of world's largest consumers are interacting with a few of the world's largest producers, along with historically important geostrategic transit countries. So this is one of the important uniqueness of SCO in terms of energy cooperation. And second aspect I would like to highlight is the structural parameters in which we interact. We have a much structured system. We have a permanent secretariat, which is based in Beijing. So these are the factors which are kind of differentiating SCO from other organizations, at least in terms of the energy cooperation aspect.
So talk to me again about that cooperation in terms of where are the key areas. Are we looking at renewables, hydropower, hydrogen even? I mean, where do you see the big push?
You mean in the energy cooperation? Or?
Yeah, in the immediate cooperation opportunities for green energy within the SOC countries.
Yeah, in the green energy, of course, we are cooperating. But I would like to highlight that it was during India's presidency in 2022-23 time, we adopted a document for cooperation in the new type of fuels. Of course, in the green energy, our cooperation is emerging. But I see immediate opportunities are lying in solar and wind. Our member countries are very aggressively pursuing technology and policy level activities in terms of solar and wind, whether it is India or China. In Kazakhstan also we are seeing such kind of very aggressive policy and as well as implementation strategies in this area. So a cooperation in these areas I foresee it will be happening in near future.
And when we look at hydrogen, we talked a little bit yesterday about hydrogen, and I know there's a whole part of the conference dedicated to hydrogen. I mean, are we really, genuinely looking at opportunities for hydrogen?
Yeah,
green hydrogen.
In this document, which I mentioned, the cooperation for new type of fuels, hydrogen is identified as one of the key new type of fuel, along with ammonia and all. Of course, we identify that this is one of the very crucial kind of an element for our sustaining circular kind of economy. And I look at India's, the strategic flagship program, a national green hydrogen mission, which is aiming at installation of around 5 million metric ton capacity. So research is going on and massive investments are going on. And in other member countries also, similar kind of efforts are there. So our aim is to share the knowledge, share the understandings and experiences, whatever is happening in this kind of sectors. And I'm sure that soon such kind of collaborations will be emerging and will be intensified.
No, and again, I think that concept of shared knowledge, shared experiences, there is no point trying to reinvent a wheel. We don't have time for doing that. We really need to move fast, and anything that one country can learn, should be shared among others. And again, the realization, when we're in a regional cooperation, so important. Now, not just because you are Indian, but you also know what's going on in this region. So again, what specific role can India play? I mean, we see the global interest in India every day, but we particularly really see it when it comes to energy, when we have an event like this, that people, are curious as to what's going on. They want to be involved. The investment is there. But where does India fit, I suppose, within the SCO system? And also, I suppose, as a leader in the global south, We
know India joined Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a full member in 2017. And India successfully led the organization as the chairman in 2022-23 period. India's entry into the organization has definitely given new vigor and impetus to the overall process. because of India's standing as one of the largest democracies in the world.
Yes.
India's track records in scientific innovations, India's leadership in climate diplomacy. India has expressed intent for hosting COP33 in 2028. So these kind of gestures are intensifying India's role as a leader in the South-South collaboration. And I'm sure that India's entry into or India's activities in Shanghai Cooperation Organization is giving the organization an added advantage. And India is an asset to the organization, to put it very simply.
No, and again, I think it's growing in definitely international stature. Well, it always has in many ways. Talk to me a little bit about, when we look at energy security and sustainability, it's always a dilemma. Security, sustainability, affordability, all of that has to happen. And, Minister Puri has been very, very blunt about the situation in India. He makes no apology for what he needs to do here to make sure that people get energy, because he can see the economic growth effects in that. But when we look at the balance for all countries, energy security, sustainability, you need to drive both, because we're in the energy transition and the energy addition together. So you can't ignore one at the peril of the other. But again, within the SCO and the members there, where do you think that balance is? I mean, I'm sure countries are very aware of it and probably sometimes troubled by it, because they have to do both together. It's not one or the other.
To Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the sustainability and security are kind of both sides of same coin. We don't advocate for a shared approach. We always are there for a differentiated approach, because we understand that our member countries are in different phases of their development. They have varied needs and requirements. As you rightly pointed out, the transition phase is happening in different way in different countries. Yeah. So we always advocate for a freedom of choice and a balanced use of energy resources. A balanced use means it's absolutely up to the member country. Starting from a fossil fuel up to the so-called latest new type of fuels, it's up to the member country. But at the same time, when it's come to sustainability, we are there to share our best practices also. I would like to briefly mention about one of the recent events which happened in Moscow on the sidelines of the latest heads of governments meeting. It was titled the Forum on Sustainable Development.
Right.
And all our member countries were represented there. India was represented by members from Niti Aayog, the policy making body, and from various organizations were there from member countries. They shared their experiences on how policy is formulated. Right. And what are the best practices available in their countries in terms of technology. So we share our best practices also.
Stay with technology, because I think that's fascinating in this industry at the moment. I mean, it's never been so exciting. The energy industry, I think, has been technology driven for years, but we're really shifting gears, I think, in terms of what can we expect from technology. And where do you see that it's really helping the best at the moment for your affiliations?
Technology, especially the digitalization and all, we consider as the key towards modernization of the energy infrastructure. Our member countries are doing their best because, as Minister Puri expressed yesterday, it's a matter of survival for all of them. So we will be using whatever means for achieving such a sustainable development, at the same time achieving the energy security. Our member countries, some of them are global leaders in terms of successful incorporation of technologies such as artificial intelligence also in energy infrastructure. By way of this kind of successful incorporation, we can now understand how much demand is there for energy and where is the wastage happening. So this kind of best practices are happening in the region. And also, if you look at the coal industry, for example, that also is using cutting-edge technologies. Automated machines are there for bringing out the best in that specific industry. So overall, technology I see as the tool or the core for bringing down the wastage and enhancing the efficiency.
Now, when we look at, the countries in the SCO, I mean, there are times I'd love if we had a map, because many of you maybe don't know that region, but how many countries in all are there?
10 member countries are there.
Yeah, 10 members. So obviously India and moving that whole area, but a lot of the countries are also Central Asia. And a lot of these countries maybe don't make the headlines every year or every day. We hear a lot about what's happening in India. We hear initiatives in China. But we have a lot of the smaller countries. What's happening there, in Central Asia and those countries in terms of the advancement for them, and how important is it that maybe we pay a little bit more attention?
Of course, I mean, there is very little information out there about the achievements of these countries. We have 4 countries from Central Asia in the SCO grouping, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. And they are doing amazingly good. Kazakhstan, being the largest economy in that particular region, is growing at a pace of 6% per annum. And Kyrgyzstan at a staggering pace of 9 to 11% per annum. And Tajikistan, if you look at its growth, it's around 8%. And Uzbekistan is closely followed by around 7.5%. But now coming to the energy aspect, sustainability and the energy security, Kazakhstan is very successfully incorporating artificial intelligence in all its efforts towards sustainable development. Tajikistan, if you consider, it's one of the few countries where water is declared as a national strategic asset.
Right.
And for that country, 95% of their electricity production is coming from hydro.
Yes.
It is 95%. And for Kyrgyzstan, it is 90%. And Uzbekistan is also very aggressively implementing various green schemes to balance energy security and sustainable development.
See, sometimes there's a lot of great initiatives happening in these countries, and unfortunately, we just don't get to hear about them. I know, as a former member of the media, I know it's all our fault, but it's so true that we really need to pay more attention, to what's going on there and highlight, I think, some of the great examples. Not every country can depend on hydro, but to see some of the great initiatives that are happening there. Talk to me about, the collaboration that SCO would have with maybe other regional groups. Are you working with the likes of ASEAN, with all of the other, groupings that can actually, maybe you can share experiences, you can help them?
Of course, Edna. To have solutions for 21st century problems, we have to share information and knowledge. With this understanding, SCO has been quite open always. We have a memorandum of understandings with like-minded organization, of course, with the consensus of all 10 member countries. Of late, we have been collaborating with ASEAN. There was a forum which happened on the sidelines of Tianjin Summit, ASEAN SCO Forum on Sustainable Development. And also, a couple of months back, there was an event in Kazakhstan. On the sidelines of Kazakh Energy Week, we had SCO, a League of Arab Nations, event on sustainable development and climate change. We could hear about the experiences of those areas, and our member countries have presented our experiences in this regard. Similarly, we have seen a gradual rise of such kind of outreaches in the recent past, not only from SCO, but from the other organizations as well. And they are coming forward with new ideas and all for collaborations. Yes, it is there.
No, I mean, it is very exciting to hear what's going on in these regions. And just very quickly, as we wrap this up, do you think we're going to be hearing a lot more about SCO in the future? And, what's in your future? I know you have your 2030 plan, but what can we expect to hear more from? What's next for SCO?
The next big thing for SCO is definitely the celebration of 25th anniversary of
wow, congratulations. Yeah, that's
thank you so much.
That's at 25, that's, you're well on the way. You're an adult now. A good organization.
From 2001 to 2026, it's 25 years.
Yeah.
And definitely, on the parallelly, work is going on the implementation of the roadmap for the strategy energy cooperation document, which was adopted last year. So we are busy. Of course, the next big thing for us is the celebration of 21st anniversary of Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Well, well done. I mean, here's to the next great quarter of a century, another 25 years starting off. And a great time to start it, because it's almost in a new era of energy, sometimes it feels like, doesn't it? So to see the growth in this region, I think it'll be very exciting. So again, we look at the power of the regional organizations. I think that can really pull big players that will be big players. 40% of the global population there. That's a lot of people. So we have to make sure you look after that. Thank you so much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen, from the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Once again, the Deputy Secretary General, Midhun TR himself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edna. Thank you so much.